Hey everybody, and welcome back. Alright, well, you'll be pleased to know I'm still feeling really well. Apparently the stent there did the trick. I don't know whether the stone's still there or not. I don't know if I told you I've seen the urologist, and actually I've seen the cardiac fellow. I might have told you that on Saturday or whatever. Anyway, everything is fine. We're just waiting now for me to go in on the 2nd of December and get the tube and that out. And as I say, I think there's something else after that. But basically, everything is going really well. So, we're going to carry on, obviously, with the GreeBSA. I've done a couple of little bits on the prop stand and what have you, so and a couple of more bits have arrived. So what we're going to do this week is I'll show you the little bit I've done on the prop stand. It really is a small thing. Two small things actually. And then the manifold arrived for the carb. So I think what we're going to do is put the carb on and then look at this bunch of stuff we have to do in the middle of the bike here. Airbox, oil tank, and from knowing where they are, where the exhaust is going to go and how we're going to put a silencer and stuff like that. So can't think of anything else to say. You can hear the heater. We were back up to 70. I'll tell you a little funny story. Long time ago, can't remember which bike I was doing. One of our cats, Tip, who is this real bruiser of a cat, came in and jumped up and people saw him. So yesterday, sitting in the living room, Linda and I were both sitting there reading, and we have a cat door, which you can see. So I see him coming in. He just about fills the cat door. Comes in, and as he came into the living room, I thought, that's funny. What's that on his back? There's like, I can see this light patch on his back because his back is dark. He's got white and brown. Not a tortoiseshell type cat, just a couple of things. So I get up to go and look at him, and it looks strange because he's absolutely soaking wet. I mean, his entire body, not just damp, he was just so wet that, like when your hair's wet on your head, you could sort of see the scalp underneath. That's why it looked strange. And, you know, everything, his legs, his head, everything was soaking wet. And I looked out the window, it's perfectly dry outside, it's not raining, nothing like that. So the only thing I can think of is our two cats both like to go and hunt around the edge of the pond. I think he fell in the pond. It's the only place he could have got that wet. Because I mean, we don't even have neighbours that could have thrown a bucket of water over him, but he was just drenched. So that was a little bit of fun yesterday. Alright, let me move you around and we'll start doing some stuff. So I haven't finished the prop stand because, as I say, I need to get a spring to put them on, and when I've got the spring on so it holds it where it should be, I'll put a foot on and things like that. But what I did do was I was able to put it in the tube bender. I put a little bend in this, so now actually the spring will hold it out there. So now it's clear of there, nicely like that. I also popped a little a piece of 1/8" plate in here, so that I think will be just nice. Now, I took the swinging arm out, I've finished bronzing, welded up all the bits and pieces, so that's all done. I didn't do the ends, but do them before it gets painted. Alright, so let's move on to the next thing. Righty-ho! So, the manifold came. Now, I was going to make one which would have been alloy plate, alloy tube, and then a hose clamped to that. Where have you gone? There it is. Because with a 350, the carb points out a little bit, so I was going to make it to bring it in, but I've looked at it. I mean, these aren't expensive, and if it's from a Roger Annable, I get my OKO carburetors off, so I can always use it for something else if I decide the carb sticks out too much and I need to bring that round and point it in a bit. But for now, anyway, we'll use it. So the holes in this are always, in these, a 1/4 inch, I guess there's 6mm. So I've opened them out to 5/16 because these are 5/16 BSF. So I got some Allen bolts a while ago for these. They're just slightly long, so I'll have to shorten them. And we're going to have a tough null spacer on here as well to just insulate us a little bit from the heat. I don't know if I could check the parts book if they had an original one. I want to get one of the slightly thickish ones, which I don't have at the moment, so I'm going to put a couple of thinner ones in just so we can work on this. So let me shorten the bolts and find a couple of pieces to go on there, and then we'll see about putting this on. All right. Right, we're set to put the manifold on. So as I say, I don't have any of the thick ones of these, so I've got 2 thin ones. Now these have a little, you've got to use an Allen bolt. They have a little recess for the head of the Allen bolt to go in. So, put that on there, put that on there. Oh no, I've just screwed both of these in. There we go. I knew they'd go in. The other thing you've got to do with these is make sure you've got the right hole centers, because for concentrics, as this had, or even monoblocks, it's 2 inches center to center, whereas Japanese bikes, it's like 1 7/8. It's not much different, so generally you can get away with just slightly slotting any manifold. Right, so they go on like that. And I have got somewhere a hose clamp that came with it, a thin one. I'll look for that in a minute. In fact, I'll look for it now. Switch you off so you don't have to wait. Well, that took a long time to find. I just dropped it because I'd taken it off when I went over to the milling machine to open out these holes. And I wasn't going to put it on without, because you may remember when I did the carb on the B44 bike, I didn't have the carb tightened up in the manifold and it had drooped like that. And I made all the airbox and everything, and then when I went to put it all together and tightened the carb up, of course the carb came up, nothing lined up. I had to cut a chunk off the airbox and remake it. Now then, that I think is all right. I'll put the tank on in a minute to make sure we're... I'll bring you around this side as well, I think. Okay, that's tight. Oh, tons of room. Tons. Let me bring you around this side. As you can see, got lots of space. That's for the cable. The only thing that sticks out is this great big choke thing. Right? Which we can get up and go over the top or something like that. That's minor. The other nice thing is, I don't know if you remember, but with the CV carb I put on the B44, I made absolutely certain this time that it wasn't a steep angle one. You remember I bought it and then I found it was meant to go such a downdraft that the float bowl was completely out. So this down the floor was nice and level. And also the other one, the fuel came out like this. I had to make a one to bring it up. This comes out at an angle, so I use that piece of tube. That'll be nicely tucked in like that. So that doesn't stick out much, I don't think. So apart from that, I don't think I need to make one of these. By the way, I've got the head bolted down because again, I don't want to make everything and find when I bolt the head down, everything moves, you know, 1/16 of an inch or whatever. So there's a head gasket in there, just an old one, and it's bolted down tight. So, all right, so God knows what that is. Oh, do I want that to point inwards? I mean, we can soon make a manifold, but it's a pain. Hang on a second. All right, let's have a look at this. Of course, it's... Oh, would you believe it? It's just too long to try it. I'm going to bend that. Yeah, it's... Stick that in there. So you lean into the, or you lean the bike out too. Well, that wouldn't be there, would it? Because that would be going into that. So it's up against the, that's as far in as the boot will go, but you bend your ankles and your knees to get some when you're turning. Let's say I don't want to make one of these if I don't have to. Put the airbox into there. The airbox, you know, can even come down to give it the volume. It doesn't have to sort of go into the centre of the airbox. That could go into the top. You know, that could be the top of the airbox there. All right, let me give this some more looking at. I won't keep you sitting there while I'm thinking. As you can see, I've moved round to the other side. I had a rummage around in the shed and I found a pipe. GreeBSA pipe. I don't know what it's off because it's a larger diameter pipe. It's swaged down there to fit into there. Maybe it came with a B40, I don't know. And I wanted to get to see what's what because there's some really strange dimensions in this. That carburetor obviously is a lot bigger than, say, a concentric, or certainly a flat slide one, which would probably only come to about here. It's chunky. I'm not so much worried about that. I've cut a piece of rubber to be about where it would be to go onto the airbox. Put this pipe on, I put the outer covers on just to see where, and then things really started to look strange. I mean, this kickstart is so far in compared to where the footrests are. So I measured the footrests. These are 19 inches from end to end. Where are we? The Enfield, they're 19 inches. The BSA, they're 18 inches. The other Greaves, they're 20 inches. And they're not even, I don't even think they're as big a footrest. But this side, you can see how far in that engine is, but as we know, the the chain and everything seems to work. It's maybe just that it's, you know, like GreeBSA, Yamaha, that we're getting out a little bit of measurement with everything. So I'll put this on so I can see sort of what space I've got up here. I'm really not sure. I could make the oil tank I want to make a bigger oil tank. I've noticed all the singles run, all the BSAs run a little hot. And you may remember with the 441 I extended it. I think rather than, I'm almost sure the Sammy Miller tanks were 1 litre, in other words a quart. I think I'm going to aim for 1500ml, basically 3 pints. That makes me wonder, should I make it fit more into there? Maybe take this mud guard off and shuffle it round, but of course it drills holes in it, which is a bit of a bummer. I really don't know. This video or this week's work could be all sitting looking at this. I don't know whether to... I think I should definitely do the air box first. See, and that's the other thing. The way this comes back here, it really shortens that. I mean, normally that would be there. So, you know, I'd have all this extra space in there. So, like with the BSA, there's no way I can put an air box in there. So if that was out here, then I'd have bigger space, but I don't. This one really is taking a lot of thought. And I don't know, can you see it? Yeah, I still don't know if I've got enough space there. Might end up having to get another pair of yokes to move the wheel forward. Because now I've got the forks wheel spindle already made up to take the wheel and the mudguard stays and everything. I don't want to sort of go to another pair of forks. But things are really starting to get very complicated. So let me do some more looking and thinking. I'm thinking, if I make an exhaust for this with a bit of a tighter radius, so it's all, yeah, sort of come here, and actually make the silencer in there, the exit pipe, just stick it out. Right, I'll make it clear on my boot. I think I can get that cable over there. Then the oil tank would go above it. Flat sided. Then make a very flat air box on the other side, so actually the outside of it was right on the edge, the actual, imagine this is the other side, so that it actually went like that, so it was flat with that. And breathing through this inside, there's a gap between the oil tank and the air box that would protect the air going in. I can have the holes on this side with a filter element there, have it mounted to this actually, and a cover that comes off there to take the filter element out. That would keep that relatively slim. Oh. It's a way of doing it. I think the thing for me to do is to make up some cardboard mock-ups of the tanks and see what's what. So let me carry on thinking. Right, for those of you who in the past have said you like the problem solving, that's basically all you're getting this week. But I think I've come up with a plan. Right? I'm going to make a new exhaust pipe. Like that. Cross into there, then the silencer is going to slope down there. So the silencer will be down here. Then the air box is going to be, this is 2-inch ID, so you have a relatively short 2-inch piece actually. It's only going to be enough to get 2 clips on, and it's going to point, it's going to come in here and be flat, go more or less to the mud guard, and the end of it is going to be where I'm going to put the filter. It'll be a nice big piece like this. That'll go there. Then the oil tank is going to be flat there like that. Then it's going to go like on the B44. It's going to go underneath the air box for a bit. So it's going to come out to here, go all the way down to there, about where the silencer is, because it's only going to be a slim silencer. Cross back here, but also under there. It's going to be possible, well, even more than 1500 cc's. Although I've got to remember it has to be. If I want 1500 cc's of oil in it, I need some headspace as well. But I think all that will work. I think it will. Alright. Actually the day's getting late and I'm about ready to knock off. I think it's a holiday here today. It's Memorial Day or something. Because I just tried to phone the Peter Quick at BSA and there was nobody there. So I think that might be... what's that? I think you can get cable operated ones of these chokes, you know. If that's right, I might take that off, put a little cable operated one. Or maybe I can fit a lever on this end or something. I can just reach under and flick. Anyway, that's down the road, that's a minor thing. So yes, as I say, we're gonna make some cardboard mock-ups first of all, see that they fit in. Maybe I should make the exhaust first so I know exactly where this is going to be. Need some alloy tube for that then. This port is 1 3/8. This tube is 1.5. These are 1.5. I don't know if I can get any 1 3/8 of that. Oh, that one's been sawn. Up. Yeah, I think maybe I'll make up the exhaust first. Good morning everybody. Excuse the heating, it's just this second popped on. I think it and the compressor are in cahoots. Alright, so hang on, I've got you. Let me pull you out. Been thinking about this overnight. And basic plan's the same, but I've changed the order of things. We're actually going to do the airbox last because I was thinking about it and I thought, you know, if I make the oil tank, it might be really difficult to fit the exhaust in. Whereas the oil tank I'm going to sort of make up completely so I can make that any shape I want. So we're going to do the exhaust first, then the oil tank, and then the airbox. I think that'll make it a lot easier. So, okay, as I mentioned, that's 1 3/8. So let me pull you back in again. Hold on. And all the bends and everything I've got are 1.5 inches, but I'm going to make it 1.5 inches anyway. So what I've done is I've taken a piece of 1.5 inches, I don't know if you can just see it there, cut a piece out and welded it up to be the right size to fit into there. Nice tight fit. Didn't show you me making this. All I did actually with this was 1.5 inches, calculated the circumference, which is like 4.7 inches. 1 3/8 circumference is going to be 4.3, so I marked 0.4 of an inch on there, just set the design, just set the calipers to 400 thou, marked it, cut that piece out, and then I put a hose clamp around it, pulled it up, and there you go. There's some carbon and stuff in there, so that'll clean out. So the next thing I've got to do is weld this to there like so, and then we can start putting the bits together. So let me go and get this fastened to that, and then we'll move on from there. Okay, I cleaned out a bit of carbon and stuff that was in there, welded that onto that. Goes in there like that. So the next thing we want is a piece on there. Let me get a straight piece so I don't have it pointed in the wrong direction. Right, so we want that to go like that. We want that more out. I'd have to cut that at an angle there. I think this other one's actually, that's got a cut edge. I wonder if I change the angle of that. Oh no. No, that's even worse. Right, I've got to play around with this so that I can get that to go like that there. I found a piece that had a different angle in it. Actually, I more or less cut it at a 90-degree angle, but it was different. Anyway, I think with a short piece in there, that'll work. Yeah, maybe shorter still, and I've actually shortened it once. Just to raise that up a bit, get it more into that. Bugger. Because I can actually turn that up a little bit. Put that there, put the sort of silencer on there like that. I don't think that needs to be any shorter. I think that'll do it. Yeah, I'll put that like that. That kicks it in as well. Right, so this needs tacking on that, and then that needs marking and tacking on there, and then I can weld them up. So let me tack that on there first. So there's that piece tacked on. Okay, well, let me go and tack that on there. Right, so there's that tacked together. That will go on there like that. And then we'll mount our silencer on there and that'll go downwards. I think that'll be fine. Right, so I'm going to go for lunch now. When we come back, we'll rig up the back purge and weld those up. That's a really good joint. That angle wasn't perfect, so that I can autogenous weld. I did the, when I split that stainless, I did that with that and I put it on pulse and it worked really well, so we're going to try that. Alright, see you after lunch. So here's my setup. I've got my back purge on. This end's sealed up with a little hole in. And as you can see, it's the highest end. That end's got the argon, and this joint I'm going to be able to do without any filler. I think it's a nice buttoned up joint. This one, because I cut this on a curve, I didn't get it exactly 2-inch diameter, so it fits up well, but it's going to have to be welded. I don't think I'm going to be able to autogenous that, but this one I will do. So let me put the argon on. Not a lot of argon left in this little bottle. Too much pressure on. Want the tiniest flow through. In fact, you don't even really need flow once it's full, but it keeps it certain that there is argon in there if it's constantly purging. Yeah. Okay, so let me set to and start welding this, and then I'll bring you back. So there's the first one done. I think this is a bit hot. Oh no, the other end is. That's just purely autogenous, in other words there's no filler rod, and done with the pulse, 1 pulse per second. It worked out really nice. Let's see what I can do with this one now. Right, well, I'm annoyed. I did all that really nicely. I did 90% of this, and then I think I must have had a little bit too much pressure on the back purge, because when I got right to the last little bit it actually blew it out. So but other than that, that's fine. So that's going to go in there like that. Doesn't look very bad, does it? So now, see, I'll make the silencer and I'll put the inlet into the silencer at a bit of an angle about here. We'll cut that back a little bit so the silencer goes on there, because those silencers, like the one on the BSA, normally about 8 inches long, which is my hand span. So you see, I can actually get a silencer in there. I meant to look at some photographs last night, but I'm sure I'll check before I do it. But I know, like the Armac Cubs, they'd start the silencer here, then I think it sort of went thin in the tube, and then it was another chamber here, but it was a very short pipe and that. Anyway, So now we're going to look at the alloy, because it's going to be all alloy after that. So let's do that. Starting to get a bit messy out here. Tidy up. Right, so I've got some 1.5" alloy tube. This is very thin walled actually, but it'll be fine. So this is 1.5". The stainless we're using is 1.5". So I've got to swage the end. That expansion thing I've got, I think, is for sort of a smaller ID, because it goes right out and then it doesn't open up properly. So what I've done is I've put some slots in. Actually, I started doing it to make sure it would work. Then I'm going to clip on. Then what we do is we put that in there. Come on now. Put that in there like that. Screwdriver, screwdriver. Oh, it's done running on me. Hold on. Right, now actually this tube I'd rounded off the end, so it's not a square end. We tighten this up a bit. So they're into the size we want. Bang that in, make sure it's coming in straight, which it isn't. I know I'm out of frame now. I'll bring you in now. I think you can just see it's opened this out to there. So what we're going to do now is weld these back up to, there's the edge of the stainless, to about here, and then we've got nicely enough for a broad clip to clamp that down and make that gas tight. So let me clean these up and start alloy welding them closed. So I've got that welded up now, and it's been sanded out. So now we can start looking. We'll sort of do the core part, this, fit it all on, then we'll make the body for it after we drilled holes in and stuff, but that is going to be for tomorrow. Right, so new day. I've cut a little bit off that, and I've cut this at an angle. I've got it tacked, so that should go on there. Let me turn this around. Hang on, I'll be back. Alright, here I am. So as I say, that is going to go on there, like thus. Just tighten that up a little bit so it doesn't flop around. That's going to go there like that. Then we'll make a curved piece to come out the end. Actually, I could have made that a little bit longer, couldn't I? So now all we've got to do is make a body for that. It's not going to be... I looked at some photographs. Actually, I could only find one BSA with the silencer there. Maybe I'd been slightly confused. Nearly all the Bantams have their silencer here. But as I mentioned, the hold on, the Armac Cubs come to here, then they are actually a large flat sort of silencer here, then it goes back to the piece of tube to come out here, and then it has another silencer. So I think that seems a little excessive, so we are going to make that like that. So let me, look at that. That was a really tight fit, now it's loose. I'm going to have to do something about that. I'm thinking I'll probably put a, you know, normally they have an arm here that goes to this bolt, like that. So we'll probably do something similar, but what I was also thinking was I might, up here we've got a lot of space, I might drill through there right into the exhaust pipe and then tap this. Put like a grub screw in to hold the exhaust in, but actually having a thing down there will do just the same. And there's always the worry there that this bolt, grub screw, whatever, is going to seize, and then, you know, you'd have to drill it out or something or whatever. So anyway, that is about right. And as I say, that's going to be a 9.5 inch silencer. So let me weld this up. Maybe I should make that arm so we've got that held exactly where we want it. Yeah, we'll do that. Anyway, let me weld this up while the welder's still on AC, and then we'll get a little piece of flat. Of course, now I've moved the welder over there, and that's something I'd like to weld up in situ. Maybe I'll put a bit of tape on that or something so that it's tight. But anyway, let me stop gossiping and weld that. Right, so that's welded up, and I put a little bit of tape on there just to make that tight. So, we're going to annoy people again because you're not going to be able to get at the gearbox filler cap. But again, how often do you need to do that? And it's only a minute's job to get at it. So, what we need now is to make body that goes around, and that we have, well, 3/4 of an inch. So 3/4 of an inch, that's another 1.5 inches, so it'll be about yay big. And what we're going to do with this one, we're going to drill lots of holes in, and we're going to wrap it. See if we can make a reasonably quiet one. Also, I think I'm going to try and get clever, which generally means it's not going to work. Rather than just being a square end here the way I normally do it, I'm going to put a cone. And a cone at this end. Just, not a big cone, I mean not a long cone. Just so that it comes outwards to there, goes along, and then goes into there probably. In fact, if I'm putting packing on, I should really make this end so that it'll come off, shouldn't I? So anyway, let me get some paper out, see if I can make a cone, because also I think I'd like to make it a slightly offset cone so that there's more of it here than there is there. Oh, tempting fate now, aren't I? So everything is nice and clear, we're all right there. Let me cut. You know, there's a few programs on the internet where you can just put in this diameter, the diameter of the large part of the cone, and how long you want it, and it will actually print out. You know what? That's the best way to do this, isn't it? Or else I'm going to be screwed. If I start, be best. Let me do that. Alright, so been up the house and found one of the cone calculator things, and that gave me a printout. So let me cut this out and then we'll see how it looks on here. Okay, I've cut it out. So that would go on there like that. Then we have a 3-inch tube and then another one of them to take it down at the end. Round, keep it simple. I want this sort of all the way. And then, as I say, take that off there. just enough space for it there. I think that would be good. So next I've got to cut two of them out of alloy sheet. And I think we'll weld them on. Oh, I've got to drill some holes in that. We'll weld them on and then we'll make the wrap. I might cut these a bit longer so I can fold the edge over slightly and give me more to weld to. Okay, so let me cut a couple of them out. So there's the two cones cut out. I'm going to anneal them, and then while they're cooling down I'm going to drill some holes in the actual centre tube. Well, I wasn't going to show you any of this because it's incredibly boring, it's driving me mad. But I'm drilling the holes in, so I've got to set up in the mill. Started off at this end, switched the digital readout on. I've put them every ½ inch, so that was like 0. So cover your ears. So we drill a hole, we wind it on a ½ inch. Drill another hole. ½ inch. Drill another hole. Just like that. And when I get to the end, what I've been doing is slapping it off and turning it just until this row of holes gets to the back jaw. You know, I wasn't going to bother marking this out for actual measurements, that's close enough. So let me finish off. I've only got a couple of rows to do, thankfully. And there's that finished off. You know, I've been looking all over trying to find some perforated alloy tube, and I can't. I find stainless steel and all sorts of things, but not alloy. It's a bit I've run a half round file inside to get the burrs off, because of course you're drilling through that way. Alright, next thing. Cones. Now we'll see if these are annealed properly. So this is 1.5 inch tube. Oh yeah. Thing is, you've got to keep making sure you're sort of perpendicular across the thing. So it's not just a question of going across, you've got to actually go round. You can see it forming up. And it's starting to form up there. We just keep doing that until we get oh, I guess the hole is a little bit smaller than it needs to be, so I can soon grind a little bit off that just to bring it round. But anyway, let me keep on keeping on. And slowly I'll bring it round to there. So let me finish off and I'll bring you back. So there it is, finished off. I've cleaned it up with some acetone, clamped it up so I can just get at each end and tack it. Then I'll take the clamp off and weld it up. It is welded, and I start to take that out.
So that is going to go there like that, down to there and get welded on. And the other one's going to get welded on that end. Then we'll wrap it in the fiberglass mat stuff and put the 3-inch tube on. I hope you can see all this still, yeah. And then weld the 3-inch tube to each of them. Okay. Okay, so let me do the other one. Well, I've done the first one and I'm in shock. Look at that. I didn't dip the tungsten once. It's fucking well perfect. I mean, that one wasn't bad, but that is just, because this is quite thin. That's thinner than this. So I thought I'd better stop while I'm ahead. Actually, it's getting on for 5 o'clock. So tomorrow, where are we? It's looking a bit dark there. I don't know if that's going to come. Anyway, tomorrow tomorrow's Friday, I'll be at Mike's. But still have to do a little bit of finishing work on that one, but that one goes on there like that. And then there's our silencer. Whoa! Alright, that's for Saturday. Alright, it's Saturday morning. It's going to be a longish video, I think, but I'd like to get this done in one. Got the other end on, and once again, it's a pretty good weld. Didn't dip the tungsten, didn't blow any holes. So I cut a piece of alloy for the body, and I've annealed it. This actually is the underside, so the heat went right through. And we're going to give this thing another go. I've just tried an experimental piece. This is why the video is going to be longish, because I know last night I was, what is this, anti-clockwise. I had 50 some minutes. Whoops, go through straight. See, there's more of these things than meets the eye. Got to make sure these rollers are parallel. That's what makes it go straight. So oh, and this one's fastening down. Anyway, as you can see, there's a curve starting in it, anti-clockwise. Let me bring you back. Right, now I haven't rolled it all the way around because you remember these rollers don't come out. So I've got to be able to get it off here. So I reckon, it's slightly out, look. I reckon if I put a couple of clamps on that, have I got any big clamps, that I can pull it up to the size I want it to be. So of course I didn't quite have any clips the right size, so I had to cobble together two, but that was alright. Then I found the mice had been in my exhaust packing. Anyway. Let's get that in there. And let's think, that's going to go on there like that. I want that round the back. Okay, let me tighten this up. There's that tightened up. Yeah, maybe could have done with it. I've calculated this at 9.5 inches. It'll weld up all right. And I've let it overlap at the end so I can fill in with weld. So let me go and weld this up. Alright, that's as much as we're doing this week. I know the video's long. So anyway, I got that welded up. Some of the welding, I don't know what happened here. You can see there, it's really nice. And then it'd go all nasty. And then it'd be nice again. Same at this end. Nice, 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 nasty. So I might re-weld some of that. Okay. There, so it's tight. A bit closer there. Could have made it a bit longer. I think I just said that earlier, didn't I? Anyway, as I say, I could have made it a bit longer, but all I've got to do now is put a little turn on to point the exhaust gases down here out the way. And I think I can get the cable running all right. It'll go under the airbox, I think, and if I pull it round the back here, it seems to be nice. Make a little clip for it there, something like that. Anyway, as I say, you know, I like this cone idea. If the end welds were better, I've got to rethink that a little bit. But other than that, all came out quite nicely. Of course, experimental as usual. It's, I think it's big enough. I don't think it's going to be a problem only having a, you know, it's not like it's a two-stroke with a tuned exhaust. It's straight through, it should be fine. Anyway, you know, it's like what sort of a twerp tries to fit a 3-cylinder Yamaha shaft drive engine in a chain drive Norton frame. It's all good fun. And you enjoy it, don't you, people? So, there you go. Alright. Oil tank, well, I'll finish that off. Oil tank, oh, got my spring for the side stand. So we'll do the side stand, finish that off, and then it's oil tank, battery box. Then we've got to do the engine. So until then, you all stay safe and enjoy yourselves.